Good, guys? Back with the castle. I am C4IQ. Today, I've been blessed by the presence of the guy, man like Saint Colo. What's going on, dude?
Dog, I'm feeling good. Actually, my voice is a little raspy because I just like a 5-hour session last night at the TNS. So if I sound a little different, it's because of that.
I was thinking, like, I didn't know if it was because of my headphones. I was like, maybe. I didn't know if you had a cold or, you know, but you've been working. That's what it is, right? You've been working.
Yeah. That's just how it is, man. You know this. After an event, you lose half your voice. You know, you're struggling on, but it's always worth it. It's always worth it.
Cool. Hopefully, we have a chill conversation. I don't think we've ever. Oh no, we did disagree about one thing at UFA, but that shouldn't come up. So we won't need to get heated or anything like that. We can have a chilled conversation. We won't talk about the value of commentators. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
Could come up. Who knows? Who knows?
But I think it would be cool to start with your origin story. I'm sure you've told it like a million times. But just to kind of segue into the topic I wanted to talk to you about, how did you start in fighting games? And then we'll go into like commentating and whatnot.
When I was a kid, I basically played at an arcade right by like my grade school when I was like super young. They would have this like little restaurant right beside us, and we would go there damn near every day, put in quarters for Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, and I would always get pissed off at the people beating me, and so eventually I picked up Sagat, and that's actually my villain origin story too, because I was like, I feel the power of Sagat and like how difficult he is to deal with, especially when you're young and you're throwing out fireballs. No one knows what to do about that. And I was hooked at that feeling of making someone else feel helpless, win or lose. Like seeing the frustration on their face. That was what got me into the scene. Like that game right there really got me into the game or into the scene. And from there, I play every damn fighting game underneath the sun. If you've seen it, I probably played it in some fashion on MAME, on all those little weird ass like apps like Zinc and stuff like that. Some people might remember that stuff, but I've been around for a bit, but I've been mostly a homebody though. Like I didn't really travel a lot until like 2016.
Oh, okay. Was there any reason that you were like a late bloomer, or was you just biding your time?
I mean, I had like a small scene out where I was at. It was like a smaller city, and we had like Aladdin's Castle and stuff like that. When that shut down, we had some places that we play at, in the college and like that I was at. But when I moved to Chicago, I finally was like, I want to experience more because I've been living online on Shoryuken and IRC, all that stuff like that. Game FAQs. Yeah, I was on those nasty ass forums, and honestly, like I was
you being nasty?
Not cancelable nasty, but cringe nasty. That's why I'm glad that they're sucking. No one will ever know my names on there because they're so different than what I am right now. Actually, they're not, but no one's gonna piece it together. It'll take a fucking detective to do that, but not even Batman can do it. Either way, I wanted to experience it because I'm tired of just like having like being by my locals and stuff, and I didn't have like a lot of money. I wasn't like rolling in dough to do like travel out, be in the Midwest. We had some things, but I wasn't able to like travel out to Chicago at the time. Then I moved to Chicago finally in 2010. I went to a lot of Kevin Fair's events and stuff like that, and then I just felt like I don't know what it is. Like I'm a pretty sociable person, but when it came to this, I was actually kind of like a little afraid to like go out and play and stuff like that. I was like, well, I'm not really that good, Finally went to a local, besides Kevin Fair events, which is like monthlies or whatever. I finally went to like an actual local at Ignite, and I got addicted. I couldn't stop.
That makes a lot of sense. I think talking about it's kind of like nerves, but I thought about this because I was like, I don't care what people think, so I'll walk up to anyone, anywhere. It doesn't really bother me. But I feel with fighting games, I think mentally we have the conception when we first go to somewhere, it's like your value is tied in with your skill, and if you don't know your skill level compared to everyone else in the room, you feel kind of like, I don't want to sit down and play anyone. You get kind of scared in that sort of way, right?
Yeah, waste their time. You don't want to waste their time.
Yeah. I definitely remember having that feeling. The best thing to do is watch someone else get smoked, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. It can happen to anyone.
Yeah, it could be you, it could be anybody else.
So that's how you started in fighting games. What was the transition period from fighting games to commentating? Was it natural? Did you make like a conscious decision? Did someone kind of recommend you? How did that happen?
So like competition for me wasn't like really a big drive. Like straight up competition, wanted to be the best.
Hmm.
Actually, some eventual point, I was playing somebody in a tournament, and I automatically felt like I don't really care about being like the best or winning this tournament. I care about being better than what I was previously. And then that stuck in my mind. I was like, well, what do I do? What can I do for the scene to like give back to the scene that's given so much to me? And so I sat down on the mic once. Shouts to my boy Callisto for letting me do so at Ignite. And I just fell in love with being able to talk about the game, talk about the stories and stuff like that. Of course, I was ass. And for 2 years plus before COVID, I was absolutely terrible. But I grinded my ass off while people don't know this. They think I just started during COVID. But I actually was like going to my locals damn near every single day to commentate, to play, to ask questions and stuff like that. And it wasn't about Street Fighter. It was about any game that would come out. Samurai Showdown, even Mortal Kombat briefly, I would dabble in that a little bit just to learn so much more. And those conversations were what guided me to do what I do now.
So was there kind of like a specific individual, or was like a group of commentators from your local that you kind of could bounce ideas off of and then improve that way?
Not really. I mean, we had other commentators there too that we would all talk about, like that we want to, do Street Fighter 5 commentary and stuff like that. But it was mostly just the scene, like pushing me to be better. Like shouts to my boy Mike Yaru. Unfortunately, he passed away recently. It was last year. But he was the one that kind of was like, hey man, you should do this a lot more. You got the gift of gab with that. Same with Zach. Same with pretty much everybody in my scene was very supportive, and they gave me the opportunity to do so. In fact, my boy RJ also, whenever I couldn't stream or do commentary on one stream, he'd have a stream out in another area. And RJ also helped push me to do a lot of stuff too as well, who's been a longtime friend of mine. We actually know each other before FGC stuff, and then we like met up in the FGC. We're like, oh hey, you're here. So it's a collection of people giving me a platform, pushing me to do better and be better and really show up for the Midwest. I mean, that's why I love the Midwest so much, is because those people really stuck out for me and treated me like family from frame one. When I got in there, like the first couple of days, I was nervous, obviously first couple of locals, but Mike and a bunch of other people came up to me immediately, like, hey man, you want to play some sets and stuff like that, would talk to me, and I'm like, damn, this is family.
Right. Yeah. That, I can see how that's like a really good motivation when you've got that kind of like support group around you. Slightly jealous, but you know what? I like my origin story. It's not as wholesome as yours, but you know what? We can't all have the same upbringing, right?
Right.
And I think it definitely molds people into their kind of like in their lane. Like I feel you give off that vibe, like you're always super helpful to everyone else. From what I've seen and speaking to you offline, and that you're always willing to help people, and that obviously is kind of like something that you experience, so you kind of want to give that back to everyone else. So
right, that's all. It's from the family, man. You are who you are around the people that you're around.
That's super nice. I'm going to stop that right now and ask some really toxic questions.
Let's get into it.
So first of all, a question I had pop up into my brain when I think the first time I got paid to commentate, this popped into my head. I was going to say, like, how much value do you think your commentating is? But that's too nebulous, right? I don't want you to put like an actual price on it, but do you think you're worth money to commentate?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I've commentated Evo, Capcom Cup, finals multiple times, CPT, World Tour events. I've been everywhere, like at this point, I definitely think that my commentary is worth something. And that goes for a lot of other commentators too. If you've commentated at a certain level or consistently, I think that what you do deserves money. In fact, I think most commentating does deserve money, even if it's at a local position, depending on sponsors and stuff like that. I think that would also help, people push themselves for quality too as well, especially if you're getting paid for something, you're going to put more towards it and spend more time, because maybe it's not a job, but it's something you can earn money on, like part-time. Okay,
do you think how can I question this? So I've definitely spoke to other commentators that have said like all commentators should get paid. In my head, I'm like, I feel you should have to be at a level before you get paid.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
So like a certain quality.
Yes.
To get paid.
It's not because I'm kind of greedy and I like don't want people to get money. It's the fact that if everyone's getting paid, I feel it devalues me. If someone gets paid the same amount of me, and I'm like, I know that I'm better at commentating than them. I'm gonna feel a type of way, and that's gonna make me get worse because I'm like, well, I don't need to be this good. I can get paid the same amount and be I can be less. So I know it's not very common, or I don't think it's a very useful way to look at the like commentating like gigs that we get, right? Because sometimes, you know, depending on where you are, like location, what game you commentate for, some opportunities can be like, you know, really far apart, right? Where you can't.
That's true.
You can't really rely on it. But do you think there should be like a tier list of basically I didn't want to use a tier list.
You said the word.
I said it.
Tier list.
Wait. List. There you go. I don't want to get demonetized, but yeah. So do you think there should be sort of like a list when it comes to how much people should get paid? But wait, sorry, let me go back a bit, because you said if you've done X, Y, and Z event that has kind of established you, established your quality. I think some people, and I'll even put myself in these positions, I got asked to do Evo Skullgirls, and I know this was like one of the years where it was online, and I know I got asked because they had no better option. I was the best out of a bad bunch. Me and Jams did it because they couldn't get any actual Skullgirls players to commentate. So I'm like, they got me. I'm not super like involved with the scene. I know the game, but I wasn't super involved with the scene. But I'm kind of like the only one that can talk on a mic. And, you know, the people that hire me are like, he's not going to swear. Win-win. We'll just get him. Like, I was the bare minimum. So in that case, it's like, yeah, I commentate Evo, but the way I got there, I know wasn't because of my merits. If you see what I mean.
Okay. But I gotta say, though, you're a good commentator overall, though. You know, despite how much you've been in the scene, this and that, regardless of that, you're a good commentator overall. So, like, at that point, the decision, I think, was also made because you as a commentator is good, not just, like, all the other factors and stuff like that. So, also, I do want to add that, yeah, maybe, you know, you get in a certain sort of way. But I do think that the actual events kind of already help the tier list a little bit in terms of who gets where and who gets paid what and stuff like that, because, you know, maybe you do make it in, like, for example, CEO 2021. I did, was it 2022? It was 2021. I did Guilty Gear Top 8, and I also did Street Fighter 5 Top 8 because there was nobody else to really do those games in 2 times, and I did those back to back, right? That was me getting lucky, right? And even my job, even how I got into CPT, I got lucky. I mean, I grinded, but there was an open spot. They wanted to introduce more talent, and by that merit, that's how I got in. Obviously, I was quality enough to be there.
Yeah.
But by that merit, you know, I don't live in like the West Coast. I don't travel out to those tournaments and stuff like that. So continuously, I'd only been traveling for a couple of years. I've been in the scene. I've known people, but I wasn't like deep in there like other people traveling to Evo for a million years. However, there's a lot of times where, you know, we do get in, maybe not by merit, and honestly, that's okay, because if the person's quality already, whatever, you know, like that's like any job. Like if you think about like any job that you get, sometimes you get in because, hey, they like you a lot, or they know you're gonna do the job and not fuck it up. You know, maybe can I cuss? Did I say?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, they say you ain't gonna fuck it up like another person. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of factors that go in that. It can never be just skill based. If it was just skill based, you know, this would be a simpler job in acquisition than getting jobs, right? Like it would be very easy to say, oh, it's a straightforward. I'm good at this, and this, and I'll always get these jobs. It's not always like that. There's a million other factors. So I think that the actual events themselves will structure that out anyway on who needs and who shouldn't get paid and stuff like that. And honestly, if events have money, you know, they can also tier off how much they're getting paid. Obviously, we get paid more for like PAX or Evo or whatever compared to like a local event that has sponsors. And I think that does a good enough job. And I definitely agree where like I don't want it to devalue all of the commentators. Like there's this weird low base pay because already it should pay more, but that's a conversation for a later day. But I do think that at this point, like, it's structured enough where these events are already tearing it off. And like, I think if you sit down for a local and you spend 3 hours of your time and you're at least decent, you should be getting paid something. Like if they have the money. And I think that devaluation won't happen because we have so many events in general that are already tearing people off. Like you see it already, and you see a lot of the popular faces and the people that have been grinding, they're making moves and stuff like that. Maybe not in the places they want all the time, but they're still making moves at these bigger events either way. So that's my take on it, at least.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is why we're here, right? Have the conversation. Yeah. I know that I'm super cynical about most things, so I always look at like the darker elements of a topic. So with me, like thinking about what you just said, when I look at myself and how I, start to improve at commentating, a lot of it wasn't due to like vanity. It was like an ego. And I want to know, obviously commentating's quite nebulous in terms of like who's better. There's going to be some people that think you're good and some people that dislike you for every reason, right? Could be accent, tone. I've seen stream chat. Sometimes it's gender, it's really stupid, but it's just, the nature of the beast, right? So I kind of have to evaluate my own skill mentally. And I'm like, okay, what's the criteria for me to be a good commentator? And I think in most fields, when you're trying to value yourself or see what your value is, you have to compare to other people. Whether it be like your peers or just people around you who've done the same job, people from the future, well, not from the future, people from the past and what you want to do in the future. So I have this mentality, like everything you said, it's not all just skill based. And I'm like, well, I could, in a hypothetical, I could be the best commentator, but because I don't like socializing and I don't like doing the whole connection thing, I'm not going to get the big jobs. And it's like, well, is it even worth grinding and getting that good at commentating to not get a spot because someone else chatted a TO up and they got the spot before you, right? Luckily enough, my ego like superseded that thought, and I was like, I don't care as long as I do a good job and I'm commentating the games I like. I couldn't care less if you think I'm good or bad. I know I'm good. I know the people that I commentate for. I've kind of only this year I thought, what kind of angle do I want to do with like commentating? And I think I want to be like the girl next door commentary. I don't want to be
next door.
Yeah, I don't want to be super flashy and all that sort of stuff, but I'm someone you admire and that's in your range. Like you're accessible. Like they could get you.
Really?
That's what I want to do.
Bro, that's the way that you feel about but like when I see you, let me cut you off, but when I see you, I think that's the primary bit right there. You a star. Look at what you've done. Okay. I know yada yada. Yeah, I'm a nice guy, but I keep it a buck. I'm keeping this real as hell.
Okay.
You are quality. You know the game, you speak very well, your tonality is great. At this point, it's not about being, you're an accessible commentator. You're above that bar. You may see yourself on that lower bar where you're like, okay, well, I'm decent and I do what I need to do. But there's a reason why you're picked for higher jobs at this point. And maybe the only thing that actually holds you back is honestly the socialization and, maybe location. I mean, location holds a lot of people back, but that's just how it is depending on where you're at. But like, for the real deal, I mean, like you as a commentator but every commentator has to go through this shit, and we always think about this. Like, I didn't think I was good until the first Capcom Pro Tour event, the finals, the season finals, the first one. I was like, bro, I don't deserve to be here. Do you understand? I'm just talking stupid shit on the mic. I know the game. I play the game. I love the scene. I've been doing this CPT stuff for a long time. However, do I really deserve to be here with Vicious and Steve, who've been grinding for 4 years, and they're getting their chance in a way too? They were already at CPT previously, the finals, but like, I'm sitting next to them, and sometimes I still feel like that too. Even like before I got on for Evo, I was like, damn, do I deserve to be here? But you gotta keep it real. Like, the quality that we put out is why we're selected alongside other things. But you're at a level now where you can't be the girl next door. You're the one, you living in the damn house. You a resident.
So the thing is, I feel I must come from like Bizarro World or Upside Down World, because I have the opposite feelings in the situations that you're presenting. So like when I first did Evo, I wasn't nervous. I was like, I'm sick nasty. I could commentate Skullgirls. Give me a week and I'll do the research. It'll be fine. Everyone's going to laugh. Right. Everyone's going to learn something. If I get an opportunity like that and it's kind of like luck based, I'm like, cool. This is just how I prove myself. I don't see myself as like, oh, I'm a put into a situation where I don't deserve it, I'm like, oh, this is just me to
okay.
test myself and prove myself, because I think, like I said, I'm just backwards. I understand that sometimes, like you said, you just get lucky, but when I commentate, and I was talking about the girl next door, when I commentate, I want it to feel like it's a house session, because that's where it, like, I started from.
That's what you mean. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
But that is also like, I know I don't think I can pull off like good esports commentary, and this is kind of like where everyone's talking about things are going, but I can't do, like, when I have a runner show, I'm like, oh my god, you want me to say something very specific? I'm not your guy. I'm so, because it sounds false, because that's not what you do in a house session. In a house session,
right,
you're not going to talk about sponsors. I mean, I told everyone to get a hitbox when I was playing hitbox, but it was natural, right?
Right.
I didn't have to say very specific words, and I know I could do it, but I feel it's going to be forced. So I can't do those things. But if you want to be hype and talk like nerdy stuff, that's the kind of girl next door attitude that I kind of want to have. I know it's going to hinder me, though.
Bad.
I feel it's going to hinder me, though. But I also did go through the phase where I'm like, I think this person's better than me, blah, blah, blah. And then it was only until I understood what my lane is, or when I made myself a lane, that stuff didn't happen to me, like, mentally.
Right. Yeah, that's something that I definitely we all deal with, right? Like, who are we like compared to and all this other stuff? Like, that's for every commentator. That's literally like when you begin, because you take some of that stuff from other commentators and stuff. Like, but real quick before I go to that point, I want to go back to what you're saying. You know, like, everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. Some people are better at ad reads, some people aren't, some people ad lib, some people don't. So I don't think, again, that's gonna hold you back that much, because, like, honestly, like, bro, I'll talk. You know, I'll just go off the rails a little bit, and hey, it's fine if all the sponsors like it and they're vibing with it. I'm vibing with it too. But going back to the comparison thing, I'm like, I used to compare myself a lot to the other commentators, and I used to like even though I talk to them, like, look up to them still, like, bro, you're commentating with them. Why are you still looking up to them like that? Like, in a way where you're like star-studded a little bit too. But now, like, it's like, I'm, as you point out, I'm in my lane, I'm doing my thing. I don't even care what people say when they try to compare us, you know, to other commentators, or say, oh, you're getting sight, you must be Yipes light or whatever, or you're spitting bars, that's just like Yipes or whatever, or you have, you know, energy, just black people energy, and then, oh, that's just you're Rob TV or whatever, or you're whatever, Tasty Steve. And I don't want to get too far into race, but there is a race issue with this a little bit, where people I've seen will say stuff in the comment section, or little slights and little cute little things or whatever. They'll just a little side eye a little bit, or side talk, I guess. But we'll say that shit, and it's like, you're just comparing me to another black person. You're not even saying, hey, I don't like your commentary. You're just comparing me to another black person because you can't disseminate the different things that we're doing. I don't take bars from nobody, right? I actually write my bars out and I get them from different spots. So I don't take nothing from nobody. I don't do the thing from Yipes at all. I'll hear him do it, and I'm like, I'm not doing that with him. That's not my thing, because that's his thing, and that's other people's thing, and I stay away from that, right? So I got my own bars. I write out. I find from other musical, you know, influences, stuff like that. My stuff is way different, but, you know, people can get a little weird and say, oh, you're just like this person because you rap. But I don't pay attention to that shit at all. Like, I know I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm not Yipes or these other people. I'm my own lane. And you a little bigoted for thinking that because you can't disseminate two black people rhyming? That's crazy. Next. That's crazy.
Bro, it's so sick, because you'll say something and I'm with you. I'm like, when you're talking about locations, I'm like, yeah, I don't live in California, bro. I'm not getting these opportunities. Like, these plane tickets cost a lot. Like, if I wanted to do this full time, I'd have to live in California. That's it, straight up.
Yeah,
that's where you're winning. But then, like, the other experience, like the comparison thing, I get compared to Tyrant, so I haven't got that. I don't have the race thing.
That's a whole different thing. It's not even a race thing now for you. It's just like a person to person. You can compare it to a white boy. That's crazy.
My identity got stolen as soon as I started commentating Dragon Ball, bro. Like, just completely stolen from me. And it leaked a little bit into Guilty Gear. And I was just like, oh, I can't escape it. So I'm going to have to hold that. But again, like what you were saying, I love the negativity. I used to look for people hating on me. I used to go in comments and go, someone talk some shit. Because for me, again, ego. I've got one. I'm not going to pretend I don't. But I also maybe is a bit of copium, but I wanted to go and see, when I talk to friends or my mates or people that know me, they're going to give you the same like dialogue tree of like, yeah, you did a good job. And I don't want to hear that. Like,
it's weird to me. That's crazy.
No, but the thing is, I feel there's so much pressure to just say you did good. Obviously, there are some people, if you went up to them and be like, be real with me, but I don't want to put people on the spot. So it's like, well, I don't want to put my mates on the spot. I don't care about those, you know, eggs on Twitter, you know, them egg accounts with like 0 followers and all that. Let me get them to tell me something. And that way, I think it's a win-win. My friends don't get the pressure to like have to spit some real shit to me, make me cry or whatever. I'll just go to the haters and then have to try and dissect and see if there's anything useful in what they're saying in their critique when they're normally just being, you know, arseholes. Have you ever seen someone who's like being a hater and then gone, maybe they've got a point? Somewhere in there was a point or something I could use to make my commentary better.
You know, I actually, so I'm kind of like you when I like to absorb that hate for a different reason. To me, it's like, you got to watch me on this next, you know, video, next tournament. I'm gonna look right in your eyes at the camera, and I'm gonna see you golden. But you know, there are some times where I'll just look at it and I'm like, well, maybe they have a point, but the way they're structuring it is not right. Like, for example, you know, like maybe someone will say, well, I didn't understand what that meant. What did he mean by this or whatever, right? So then I'll be like, you know what, maybe it's better if I clarify and work that way in my commentary even better. Even like, I feel like the past couple of months I've been like, you know what if, you know, some of these things get looped into the narrative of the neutral a little bit better, like with my bars and stuff, and start, because sometimes I'll just say something to have fun, as we all do. We're just having fun, we're just shooting shit, you know, in comments. But if I work that in even more, that makes things even stronger and it makes things flow even better. And you know, like, I'm not gonna stop doing the bars. That's just my thing. It's fire. People love it. I ain't gonna stop. I'm getting jobs for that. So what if I make that even better if they don't understand it? Another thing is, like someone said, I remember when I first started, why is St. Cola standing up a lot? And I'm just a genuinely excited person when it comes to fighting. I love fighting games, bro. Like, it's just me. I get excited at 2 golds going at it in Street Fighter 5, or a counter hit happening at a tournament, or whatever. It could be a random fighting game. People are getting excited. I'm getting excited too, man. I just love that shit. But like, people did not like me always standing up so much during the first season finals. And I thought about this. I was like, it's hard, but I'm going to hold myself back a little bit, because if I do, it'll make the moments when I do stand up even better, right? Because I was like, it's hard to hold myself back from that enthusiasm, but if I hold myself back a little bit and add some more variance, it makes those moments stand out more. So again, like you said, like, you can dissect a little bit. It's hard because they're always just saying wild ass shit, and some of it's racist, some of it's awful. Oh, who's this? Oh, I don't need another Tasty Steve. I got too many of those. What do you mean by those? What do you mean by those? But you can definitely get a little bit of that from the hate, like understand like a little bit where they're coming from. Like, I get it in terms of, I'm not gonna stop my enthusiasm. That's just what I mean. I ain't gonna fake the funk, you know what I'm saying? But I can pull back a little bit and make it like stand out even more when those moments happen. You know, it's also like, you're at a big event and you're just like feeling the energy. You're like, oh, the whole time. But if you pull back at these big events, it makes those moments better. So like, things like that I've looked at. I've talked to other commentators about. When I speak too fast, especially when I get tired now, I've been looking at that a lot more. So like, I do look at the comments and what people say, but I understand that like 95% of it is just trash. But there's that 5% of nuggets of just something you could just like grab from and say, I can get better by doing this.
I know a lot of people. I'd say most commentators, especially if they're like new or have only been around like from COVID, find it really hard to take criticism from people they don't know. But like you said, it's very hard to say it's criticism when you don't know the person and they're just, you know, saying you did this bad. And in the back of your head, you wasn't go, so why aren't you doing it then?
Where are you at?
Why do I not see your face on the camera? It's because, oh yeah, you're shit, basically. Like, but it's weird because the relationship between a commentator and a viewer or a spectator or someone dropping a comment is we're meant to be delivering a service to them. So technically, the customer's always right. Technically, but you have to go. Do you disagree with that?
Man, You're right and you're wrong, because like
All
there's too much variance with the customers, and when it comes to commentary, it's so subjective and it's so difficult to say I can please everybody. Nobody in the commentary business pleases everybody. I've seen hate for Yipes. How does that make any sense? I've seen hate for Yipes and Steve. That make no fucking sense to me at all. And even top level commentators, I've seen people say stuff about like David and stuff like that, or James, and say, hey, they're saying this wrong, and I'm like, I don't think that's right, but whatever, but like it's hard because you can't please everybody. Like if there's a mass amount of people saying, hey, you should do this differently, then yeah, I could see that a little bit. Then that's, you could agree with the customer because the overall basis. But there's some weird people that come in, the Karens that come in and they taste your commentary and they say, well, this isn't what I ordered. It's like, this is exactly what you ordered. What are you talking about? And then they'll go and leave a Yelp review and stuff. Those are the people that you just can't pay attention to. So the customer is right, but they're also wrong, and you have to be able to disseminate which ones are actually giving you good advice and which ones are not. And if you are generally showing out and getting jobs at some level, you're good enough that, and you can obviously improve, but you're good enough though that it's that maybe these outspoken people are just idiots. Like that is how it is. They're actually just dumbasses, and that kind of also goes into a little bit of this story. Like when you go to offline tournaments, and stuff like that, or you go into a random stream chat that's not like a tournament, like look at how much love commentators get. Like I watch people come up to me, Rob, Vicious, Steve, James, taking pictures and shit like that. That weighs way more to me than someone leaving a bad comment. And most people, honestly, unless it's like a big standout event, are not going to be leaving like all this love and stuff like that, unless it's like your first time or first couple of times, but that love that people show in person, like if people are not if they're not showing you hate in person, you're probably doing something great. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm coming up to you and not be like, yo, your commentary fucking sucks. Like you're probably, most people may not do that, but you're probably not doing anything like super bad. And that's my opinion,
Yeah, I think I was thinking about what you were talking about in terms of like holding yourself back, and I've always thought like if I ever got on a mic, I'm not going to be fake. Like I'm not going to pretend to be hype. If I'm hype, I'm legit hype. I can't. I hate pretending to myself, which is basically like lying.
Right.
But there is one thing that I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's some sort of like moral compass that guides me into some jokes that I just won't say. And on Dragon Ball, I've said some risque stuff. I'm not going to blame Acoustics because I would have done it without Acoustics being there, but shout out to him.
Right, yeah.
And I think it's weird that I think everyone's kind of got it where they're like, this is a line that I won't cross, and to like, maintain their commentary like career, they're not going to cross it, right? And it kind of, some people might see it as like selling out. But for example, I try my hardest not to say dead on stream, just in case had someone pass away. So I say brown bread, which is like Cockney rhyming slang. And I'll get people saying, oh, what does that mean? And I'm like, that's what it means, it rhymes. Like, it's the easiest way. Like, I don't know, I can't break it down anymore. When you see a character get knocked out when I say brown bread, 1 + 1 kind of. But yeah,
makes sense.
It's like, I won't say that, but I'll say 2 girls, one combo. With a straight face. It don't bother me.
Right, yeah.
Hard ER. I've said that. I only said that with Acoustics though. It doesn't go down to Acoustics up there.
That's godlike. Those are good. But I get you. Like, you don't want to go too far. Like, I did Street Fighter League Japan, and I was like, there's a certain reference with this that I can't say certain bars, and I'll pull back a little bit, right? But like at UFA, I'm sitting here saying like, oh, he's busted, and it's no longer November. With the Nago is, in that blood loss, bro. I'm like, I can do this here, but like that's like part of the business, and also a part of. It's funny to say it's professionalism. When you can say those things and when you can't is how to juggle those. And people get upset. They're like, well, I wish you would be less esports and more yourself. It's like, but some jobs require you to have a certain amount, right? You can't have like a full amount of me, like when I'm on this stuff. Like some days I'll get, a little nasty on the locals and stuff, but you won't see me get as nasty on like a tour event because I'd like to come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's a fine line. But again, that shows professionalism, and that also shows quality, because most people will step over that line too much and they won't get the call back. Yeah, like I've always said, when people normally talk about how they go into commentary, they've got like an element of luck. And
I think I've pinpointed my luck is that I've never, I'm gonna say never. I've never sworn in front of my family. They've never heard me swear. So
really?
yeah, I've just got a built-in filter not to swear. I don't know. I don't know why. I guess that's just the way they brought me up. I swear all the fucking time, when they're not around. So I've got like a filter. So I'm like, oh, you'll never hear me swear on commentary if I'm not allowed to swear on commentary. I just have that, and that's my luck. Like, I think I've got a really good filter in being able to, like, in a moment go, is this suitable for this stream? And I think a little bit is kind of what you're talking about. I think the more you pay me, the more I can hold back, and the less you pay me, the more of me you're gonna get. And I'm like, I feel all right. The bigger the paycheck, the more professional you get. Like, I think I'm gonna go into it a bit more like that. So if I'm getting paid, you're paying for a personality, and there's gonna be parts of it that you don't want, sort of thing. A lot of this, like I said, a lot of the stuff I said on Dragon Ball would not go well with like Guilty Gear, for example. It just wouldn't. The
right.
The viewership is just totally different.
Dragon Ball players and like that community is definitely different than Gear. I've seen the YouTube comments. I've seen people in Punk stream when he was streaming. It's definitely a different beast.
It's so different. I kind of like it. I mean, I'm always the bar for me is Marvel. So everything's below that. Marvel, you can get away with craziness, absolutely craziness. So anything else is just going to be, I'll just tone it down. Like, but for me, that was one of the reasons I stuck around in fighting games. It was because of the dramas and the craziness that happened in Marvel, not just in game, but the personalities. And I'm like, damn, this is grassroots, like no holds barred. Everyone's just being themselves. This is what I like. And then, you know, not all games are like Marvel. Probably for the best. It's good. It's good. That's where they get sponsors and stuff, you know? Yeah, I like the variety. But speaking of sponsors, do you ever think I mean, there's only like a handful, I'd say, of commentators that are sponsored for literally talking. Did you get like a big head thinking, I'm that guy? Or did you feel, I got mad lucky? Or was you somewhere in the middle?
I was mad lucky. I'll be 100%. I'll go back to it a little bit. Like when I got sponsored by Panda, it was mostly for content, because the commentary thing was like, we'll help you travel out to events, but if you're at events, you'll do content out there. You'll shoot content, right? And I felt so like afraid, because they gave me a stipend. They gave me like a really good stipend. I felt so afraid to use the stipend for the majority of the year that I was with Panda last year. I didn't use it. Like, I didn't use the stipend at all. I didn't even use the stipend previously. The only time I used the stipend was like the end of last year to cover a few things here and there for trips. Only CEO was fully covered for me from them, and CEO Taku. And there was like, you know, sometimes they cover like a plane, or if I want to do like a hotel or whatever. But I was so like, because in my head I was like, bro, I don't even know if I deserve this. I am making content with them, or I was making content with them. I was doing stuff on the YouTube, and we'd be out there making stuff, doing stuff, and I'd wear their fits. And they didn't force me to wear their fits on the commentary. I actually liked their stuff. It was pretty decent, you know. Go with some certain stuff. I was like, it's not bad, so I'll wear it on the comms. And I would participate in some of their events that they'd have that they would make themselves, like the Autorama events. But like, me personally, I was like, bro, why me? There's so many other commentators that you could have picked up, and maybe they did ask if they didn't want to be a part of or whatever. I'm not sure what happened there, but I was like, I'll take what I'm given and move with it, right? Like at the end of the day, I'll take and move with this. But people have a misconception that I was sent out like with their money all the time. It wasn't really like that. For the first half of the year, they had to force me. Eventually I broke down, but they had to force me to use the stipend that they gave me to do stuff with it more. I think I actually did Texas Showdown also, they covered, but then after that I was like, okay, I can't spend no more. I felt like guilty, even though I was doing work for them. So definitely did not have a big head for that. In fact, I thought like, you know, like I'm taking advantage of something that's given to me, because, you know, I need this maybe more than other commentators that are more established to catch up in some fashion. Like people that are already more like already there, you know, they've been doing work for a lot of years in public facing and been doing tours before COVID had hit. Like they already had that, like, you know, established, you know, fan base and stuff. I was like, this could help me expand more outside of not really commentary, but more like content creation, stuff like that, building that base first.
Right. I think a lot of the stuff you described was sort of like imposter syndrome, right? Yeah, and I hear like a lot. Again, I'm weird. I never had that. I knew I was either good or bad, or like, you know, somewhere in between. I never really felt like I didn't deserve an opportunity, or
yeah.
I always thought like, oh, someone might have been better, but now I'm gonna prove that I am the best option for you. Whether it be like,
I like the energy though.
Whether it be like value, I'm like, yeah, you could have got something better than me, but you haven't got the budget for that. Just get me. Come on, don't worry about it.
Stop worrying about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I always, again, I might be just coping and trying to like finagle the facts to suit my mental, right? But yeah, I've never had the whole like nerve. I got nervous when I used to compete.
Yeah.
Commentating, never had it. Never ever had it.
Really?
I can have 10 people in the stream or 10,000 and I would be the exact same.
That's wild.
But I sometimes think that's a bad thing. It's like if you're a person who doesn't have pain receptors, so you don't know when you're
you
getting
don't feel anything.
Yeah, I think that not feeling something could work against me sometimes. Like when I used to play, sometimes your adrenaline would make me play better. Sometimes it make you crumble. So I like being consistent, but I feel that I might miss out on moments. Like when I went to Evo and stuff, shout out to Jammers and stuff. He's like, oh, you made it to Evo. And I was like, we commentate Evo online. What's the big deal? And he's like, bro, we're in Vegas. I was like, yeah, but we're commentating Evo. We've done that, literally.
So Evo.
And I felt like I was like draining the hype out of him by bringing him down. So I just had to walk away.
It's like, just Evo.
Yeah. I was that guy. So I was like, you know what? Let me leave Jammers alone because I'm throwing so much shade his way. Let him enjoy his time, and I be this like logic bro neutral guy in the corner. And I think the way you speak about the kind of like the journey you've had in commentary, especially when you got to the sponsored bit and you had the ups and downs and the imposter syndrome, I feel those dynamics definitely mold really good commentators, obviously like yourself.
Yeah, but like even with what you're saying though, like it's molded you to be a good commentator too, in your own fashion. Like if the things were switched, I wouldn't work well and you wouldn't work well either, because like that's what's helped you succeed, and for me this is what helped me succeed. Like it's hard to say I like now I don't have imposter syndrome about what I get in terms of commentary, but like certain things I feel like I can feel like a sort of luck, or I feel like, oh man, I don't fuck this up. Like, do not fuck this up at all. You know, so I put my best foot forward, or if I feel like I didn't have a good performance, even if people tell me it's good or whatever, I don't give a shit. Like, I will do better. Like, there was one time I did Street Fighter League Japan, and I flubbed up a few times on some of the names and stuff. Where it's early in the morning, it's a 7-hour stream, it's gonna happen, right? Yeah. But I was like, that's inexcusable. Never again. Next stream we do the finals, I killed that shit. I made sure to say everything perfect, you know, and even with the 7-hour, 8-hour long stream, like I kept that shit like on the lock. But like that, I have to have that sort of energy where like keep everything perfect, keep it pristine. Even if it's luck, you take everything you're given, you fucking drive that shit as far as you fucking can. And even if like, you know, like that imposter syndrome does come out for like opportunities outside of commentary, like non-commentary is like, hey, you got the yada yada, and I'm like, sick, I've worked hard. I like that result. I'm going to work hard when I get there, and I'm going to give them that good energy. Now it's like, bro, like I want to do good content. I want to do good like talking to sponsors for these tournaments. I have like imposter syndrome a little bit, like talking to these sponsors, like, shouldn't you be talking to like a bigger commentator, like, you know, that could give you more, but that again drives me to do more, you know. For commentary now it's not so bad, but that definitely helped me on my journey though, having that imposter syndrome, and kept me from maybe falling into some bad habits, like trying to imitate other commentators by full, like not focusing on my lane and my style.
Yeah, I think it's easy, especially when you are in that zone of like, oh, this person's better than me. It's like, well, they do this is good, let me try and emulate that, and then then you start to turn into a clone, and then you lose your identity, and the reason anyone would hire you is gone, because they'll just get the upgraded version of you. They wouldn't get the replica, they'll get the original. So yeah, it definitely does yourself.
Oh man,
it does yourself
some
bad.
people still say like that. Yeah, but you know there's some weirdos that always see it like that, but we already talked about that, how like we're different, but you could show somebody how different you could draw on a chart and they ain't gonna look at it, so it's whatever.
Nope. But speaking about the other avenues, and you was talking about we're talking to sponsors and stuff. You've done the voiceover thing. What was that game called? The
God of Rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard that. Do you think that might have kicked in the imposter syndrome, or did you think like, you know what, let me try this, it's a new opportunity, or you're like built for this through all the commentating that you've done? What was your mindset when you got the call or reached out to them?
That one I felt a little bit comfortable because I knew the people behind it, and it was still like, please do a good fucking job, because like, you know, people are relying upon you to do a good job with this, and it's so different than commentating because you're saying something in a certain fashion, in a certain quickness, with their certain words that you have to, and it's different. But like that one, I was like, I could do this because now I'm doing content, so it makes sense to have A to B. I would say my content creation, I still have a little bit of imposter syndrome with that. Like, I've only made one video, and I make stuff with TNS, and some of this is like a time constraint kind of thing right now. It's not really like, some of it is like, what do I make? Also, some of it's like, I don't have enough time right now because I'm doing a million things. But like, some of it is also like, damn, look at these other people making like 25,000 views, the Brian F's and stuff like that, the Crofts. I'm like, bro, do I deserve to be making anything? So I'm starting to get in that mode where it's like, just create some shit, just make some shit, and then see what happens, and then go from there. Because like at this point, like, you making nothing is worse than making something that doesn't get a lot of, it's not even about the hits, it's more like about like the quality, you know, like even if it's not quality right now, you can make stuff later on that will lead up to that. So like that's still bugging my mind right now a little bit.
Do you have any sort of ways around that, or is it something like, you know what, I have to hit this wall and then break through it eventually? Or do you try to like maneuver yourself around the like imposter syndrome thing? Do you have to like talk to people to kind of, you know, tell you to snap out of it, like slap you out of this stupid like slump you're in? Or how do you deal with that for people out there? Actually, I'm built different, I'm constructed uniquely, it don't affect me. But for the people listening, how do you get around that?
Like for me personally, I don't really tell many people that I have that imposter syndrome. I just kind of like, for some of this stuff, like I don't let them know, but I'll bounce off ideas. I think it's kind of obvious. It's like, well, where do you go with this? Like I talked with Tong, and he definitely helped guide me to what I need to do with my content. Same with RJ. They're helping me out with this stuff. So like, that's my way of like focusing through. And obviously my girlfriend too as well. She's great in terms of like, hey, just make this shit. You're good at this. You can do this. Like just make this shit. But like, to get around a lot of that beyond having a, you know, support system, is just like recognizing like you're here for a reason. Despite the way that you may feel, the outside world doesn't feel like that. Even when commentary, when I did have imposter syndrome, you know, people coming up to me and say, hey man, your commentary is pretty good, keep that shit up. I'm like shocked out of my fucking mind. Like I'll say some real ass shit. I had a family come up to me, like I was gonna quit commentary because there was a lot of shit going on during like 2021. I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good commentating. I was tired. Stuff was going on in my life that just wasn't good. Depression was hitting. You know, we're getting a little dark right now, but like, I went to CEO, and a family came through, and they were talking to me about how they watched me and Vicious every morning Street Fighter League was on, and that shit has to be like 6 a.m. in the goddamn morning, if not earlier, depending on where you're at, right? That's early as fuck. You're telling me that you get up to watch me and Vicious commentate Street Fighter 5. This is obviously before Luke, but still you had Cammy and Yuri in repeating all the time. And you came up to me and told me that you love watching that. And we're even talking about what matches you liked and stuff. Bro, I almost went to the bathroom and cried. I was like, are you you watch me like that? Like, I knew some people like my commentary, but to have someone come up to you and tell you that is a whole different thing. You're like, yo, I'm a big fan, all that stuff like that. So that stuff pushed me outside and said, if these people are saying this shit to you, they're coming up, they don't have to. And sometimes obviously it could be a little bit lip service, stuff like that, maybe, who knows. You never know with people, but I think like the way they were genuine and they knew what they were talking about, what matches they were watching and stuff, that pushes me out of the imposter syndrome and prevents that from that happening, right? When people come up to you and say, hey, you did a good job. So like I should say to people watching this that like other commentators too as well, or like anybody that's a commentator, you don't know how much that affects somebody coming up. Maybe not you, because you built differently, bro. You run on self-sufficient energy, which is, that's fine, but still give C4 love. You should also give C4 love. But any commentators that you like, tell them, stream chat, anywhere, because generally speaking, even the biggest commentators don't always get love. Sometimes I'll watch a stream and people will be like, oh, I hate this commentator's been doing it for 20 years. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, why are you like being negative? Go somewhere. And honestly, I'll give you another hint, y'all. If you want to kill a commentator, don't say anything about them at all. That's literally how you kill a commentator. You don't want them to have a job. Quit talking about them, because all you're doing with the hate and the love too as well, is you're giving them views and you're making them more popular, and they start building up a base, and it's going to be harder and harder for you to knock them down. So like, anyway, that's beside the point of anything, but people should, if they love a commentator, really give them love and show that, directly, stream chat, whatever it may be. That, you'd be surprised how that affects people. Any commentator too, starting out, long time, don't matter who it is.
You're actually right. So I still stand by what I said, but there was one comment that I got, and I think that was the turning point from me thinking, oh, I'm pretty good at commentating, to like, I'm actually the best. I'm like godlike. I never doubted myself again. I went into full SSJ Vegeta mode, and it was at Arc Revo last year. Skill said his mum liked my commentating. It's similar to your story. I don't know I don't know why it hit different. It must be that it's a person I didn't think would care. Like, Skill's mum was clearly watching because Skill was playing, but Skill said, oh yeah, my mum said she really liked your commentary. I was like, I wasn't even aiming for her to like it. That's why I'm sick nasty, because I'm here thinking about, I just want to be authentic. So I want people like Jammers, Theory Fire, all the people that I kind of came up with fighting games with, I want them to like my commentating. If those 5 people in that WhatsApp chat like my commentating, I'm like, done job. Like, I did what I came here to do. But if someone's mum said like, oh, I liked it and I learned something, I'm like, I'm too good. Like, I'm doing things unintentionally. So that was my turning point. Like, I've got a thing with Jammers and Ringe. I told them to. I was like, I'm tired of messaging you guys saying you did a good job. You only hear from me if you did something fucked up. If you don't hear from me after an event, you know that that I think you did good. Because
that's a good point.
It was so long. Jammers and Ringe, that every week they were doing something. So I just sent them a message saying, yeah, you smacked it. And I'm like, but you know this. You know you're good at what you do. You don't need my reinforcement. So when you fuck up, I'll be the person to say something to you. So I think I want to use that against everyone else. But obviously, if I don't let them in on the tech, they're thinking, C4 say, hey, bruv, he's not saying anything. But
always coming in when he just wants to say something negative.
Bro, I'm no different to someone in the YouTube comments, right? I only talk when something bad's, like, I'm only here to throw shade.
You know what? That's a good point. I feel like for a lot of commentators nowadays, like, I don't message people as much anymore. I used to be like, yo, good job. And now it's like, it's not really to message them if something bad goes, is happening, but it's in a similar vein of like, yo, if you did good, you did good, right? Sometimes I'll drop off. I'll say, yo, good job if I see them in Twitch chat or whatever. But like, I won't go out of my way every single time, because if you're killing it, you're killing it. That's the way you got up there for a reason. You're killing it no matter, you're killing it usually. There usually isn't a time where you're not killing it. I don't have to continuously give you that enforcement, and don't have to go from that. That makes a good. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't like telling someone something they already know. Like, they know they're good. They know they're good, right? But I think for me, it was like, maybe this was my imposter syndrome. I felt like I was getting gaslit when people kept saying I'm good. There was a couple of times where I'm like, I did shit. I did really bad. Arc Revo, I know I did bad. I had like a diva moment and stuff in the back. I was not feeling it. And I was like pacing up and down saying, I can't focus. I can't do this. I'm too annoyed. And when people saying, oh, you did a good job, I'm like, no, I didn't, bro. Like, I wanted to VOD review my commentary with them to prove them wrong. So
that's actually wild.
I'm like that. Like, I feel it's not kind of based on my feelings. It's like, I'm objectively doing bad. When you're saying when you're being nice to me by saying I did a good job, you're basically lying to me, and I'd rather you not say anything.
But
it's hard to say don't be nice to people, so I just have to hold it on the chin, right?
Yeah, or don't like go up and say like good shit afterwards or whatever. Like it's hard not to, because then you know something's wrong. Then, even if you're understanding and okay with that. But like, I guess I feel that where you're like you feel like you're getting gaslit and stuff like that. But sometimes it depends on what they're getting out of your commentary too. Because sometimes it could be, and maybe you were off on some information, but you provided enough hype to get someone to enjoy the game or watch. Maybe you were wrong a few times, but those times were eclipsed by the times you were right. So it's also hard to be like, okay, I did horrible if other people were enjoying your product too, because you yourself did say if the customers are happy, you should be happy, right? But again, it's so difficult to disseminate that, but I agree with you mostly. I do think that there's a point where it's like, all right, I know I did bad. Like, you don't gotta tell me I did good if I did bad, you know, or
Yeah.
I understand, like, but maybe there's something that they got out of that commentary that they enjoyed. Regardless, we don't always hit it. I mean, that's just how we are as commentators. Like, shit, yesterday, 5 hours in, I'm starting to get a little faded. And there's no more coffee, and I'm like, I gotta keep up my energy, and so I forget some of the move names a little bit. I'm like,
Ooh.
bro, I just gotta say, not even like I forget that what the difference between like Axel's jump P and jump S for a second in my brain. So I say, so I have to alter to gets the hit, because we've been commentating for so long.
Yeah.
But you have to be like prepared to be able to switch on the, like, you know, flip that real quick and say, okay, it's this thing now. And then later look back and be like, you know, you can't be perfect. What can I do better that next time? Maybe next time I'll get a coffee or whatever, so I can not have those moments. But for the most part, people enjoyed it. I saw someone say, goated commentary block of TNS. And I was like, damn, that's some praise. Yeah. So, like, again, if people are getting some good stuff out of it, you can do both things. You can say, I didn't do good for myself, but there are people that enjoyed it. Let's make it better for everybody next time.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something I need to learn this year for sure. Because when that situation happens to me, I'm like, one of us is lying and I don't lie. So I notice that's as soon as I hear those praises when I'm not feeling it, that's my like knee-jerk reaction. And like you said, it's not that deep, and maybe I feel like I, you know, underperformed, but that performance still could be good to someone else. I've got to keep that in mind, because I definitely get tunnel vision when I'm critiquing myself. I think that's why I don't mind looking at other people's critiques, because I know that it's not going to be worse than what I think about myself. Like,
right, no one can break it down like yourself. That's just life. Exactly.
Like, you know, all those times I've like done VOD reviews where I've counted how many times I've said and I'm running out of fingers and toes, bro. Like, I need to cut that out. Not stop doing it, just cut it down. Just, you know, snip it here and there. There's some points where I'm like, you know what? The silence is okay. You don't have to say something every 2 seconds. Like, and I think when I went to Evo, I definitely experienced commentating with people that I'm not used to. So for me, the style of American commentators is way different to EU. Way different. You guys don't mind pauses. EU, most of them are like, never have dead air. Just never. Like, you need to know.
Please keep going.
As soon as you hear the full stop or the period, the next person has to go. And that was normal to me. And I was talking to other people, like commentating with like Solid Bones and Giuna and them lot, and I'd finish the sentence like, oh my gosh, you did a burst. Yeah, now. And I'm like, what happened? I thought someone, like, I swear someone did actual super, and someone just stopped time, and it felt uncomfortable. And I was like, no, it's just a different it's a different style of commentating. And I want to be able to be mandible to who I'm commentating with. I think that's one of my better skills. I think a lot of people, I think like you have a presence, like you have an aura, and most people have to accommodate to your aura. I want to be the opposite. I want to be able to, I want you to be able to stick me with anyone, and if they're bad, I want to make them a 5, and if they're a 10 out of 10, I want to match their energy. That's what I want to be able to do. It's hard though, because I need to get more out there and commentate with more people, and that's the struggle.
The wild thing is like the aura thing. Like people have the mold around me is difficult, because if you've never commentated with me, I'm a goddamn demon, bro. I say wild ass things. I'm a fast talker. I'm hitting rhymes. You're like, what is this? What is this Dr. Dre motherfucker doing, bro? Like, you are in the wrong business. And like, it takes a little bit, but sometimes it takes a little bit for me to get going with somebody too. Like when I commentate with Yipes, like my man will be like, he'll be talking about different things and cracking jokes, and I'm like, oh, let's crack some jokes then. But it takes me a bit to I'll be getting done with like commentating with David, who is like, you know, hyper focused on being analytical. But that's just like commentators in general. Like everyone's got a different personality, different like style. So even with me, I'm like, bro, there are people that I have to get used to. There are people that I don't have to get used to. Like Mia Vicious is like that, because we all the time, right? Me and David are like that now too, because we commentate a lot. Me and Range are like that too. Me and Jake are like that because we commentate a lot. Me and James too. But there are people that I haven't commentated with that it's harder to do that with, and in me personally, I have to recognize, hey, sometimes, bro, you going too fast. I need to slow this shit down a little bit for these people, or I'm cutting people off. I'm like, I need to shut the fuck up for a second, let them talk. That's so hard too, because they're just like, well, do I talk to them? I'm like, yeah, I'm letting you go. Like, get that shit.
Yeah, I remember was it Evo? It might have been Evo, or it was something before that. I remember messaging Ringe and saying, bro, I was so hyped to commentate with you. I fumbled so hard. I kept talking over you, man. I'm so sorry. You should have backhanded me or something when the camera wasn't on, because I was just like so in the zone to like commentate with someone that I've spoken with, but we've never obviously been in the same room before or in the same like broadcast. No, actually, no, it was the PlayStation tournament to qualify to Evo.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, I get to commentate Guilty Gear with someone that I've known from like Marvel days commentating. It's gonna be lit. And I went overboard. I was talking way too much. He was making a point, and I was like that annoying girlfriend where I was like finishing his sentences. It was horrible. Like, I hated watching it back. And I'm like, dude, I promise you I'll never do that again. But I've definitely had moments that you're speaking about. I remember like, actually, no, before I mention this, what do you think is the most important, if you had to pick one thing, what do you think the most important thing about commentating is for you?
For me, you gotta love the damn games. You gotta love the games. I'm not saying you gotta be like a top level player. I'm not saying you gotta play the games every damn day. I'm not saying you gotta like be entrenched deeply in the scene, but you should be a part of the scene. You should love the games. You should love them for all their issues, their problems and stuff, because there's always shit that's gonna happen. Like you should love the problems that happen with the game, the good things that happen with the game. You should be in love with these games, because there's not enough money, there's not enough time put in to not love this shit. That's why I don't commentate certain games. People will ask me, I get a message per month, maybe minimum like 5 messages, I should say. Can you commentate Tekken? Can you commentate Grand Blue? I don't play those games anymore. And like, even for gear, I'll at least play a couple sets per day. You know, right now I'm learning chip. I hate it. But that's like me. But like, I'll go and talk to Marvello. I'll go and talk to like other chip players now. I'm deep in diver in the matchups. I'm sitting on the mic talking about how much I hate playing this character. But that love is very important, because, you know, like, it gets me more in tune with what's going on, right? If I don't have that love, then there's, to me, personally, I can't commentate something and give you that energy that I would like to give if I don't love a game. Like, this happened with DNF. I love DNF up to a point, and I did a tournament. I was like, all right, let me play some more DNF. I played it for a week after, and I just fell out of love, and I was like, damn, I don't like this game anymore. So I don't commentate it anymore. I don't even talk about it anymore. It's just me personally. I don't like DNF. I don't care what they change with the game. That's just me. But you don't see me on no broadcast except this shit. It's just not going to happen.
I respect that. I think with your situation, I guess that you could have a case where, you know, someone's needs to pay rent. So they're like, bro, give me any game. I'll do like a couple days of research. Yeah. And it's like, even if I don't like it, I'll commentate because you need the bag. But I'm with you. I've got like a job outside of commentating. So I'm like, I'm not going to commentate things I don't want to commentate for. I'm kind of like you in that respect. I think I don't want to do a game a disservice by not knowing enough of them, like the mechanics. I normally focus more on the game than the community, like the players and stuff. Mostly because especially with Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball in our region, all the other commentators have that covered. All of them have it covered.
Oh, they're already taking care of that.
Yeah. So I'm normally okay, but I feel I've got enough knowledge to, if I went to somewhere outside of Europe, I could represent the EU players to an NA or JP audience. I've got that amount of knowledge, but in EU, I don't normally talk about the players because, the other commentators got it covered. I was going to say, for me, I definitely feel the most important thing is being able to cover fuck-ups, whether it comes from like production or players. So, you know, when me and you commentated at UFA and we did like one game in like 2 hours.
Yeah, the issues.
And I was thinking like, you know what? I didn't see chat moaning that much. I think we did a good job. I was like, it was cool. Like, just getting to talk. It was kind of like a break from like, we've got to talk about games. It's like, shit, I'm talking to Saint Cola about fucking pizzas and like chocolate and stuff. It was crazy. But interacting with the chat, and I'm like, I think that is the goal of commentators, is to basically, I was gonna say babysit chat, but keep chat entertained. And then obviously you have the other things with it, like informing them, keeping them updated, you know, doing the production stuff on the other side, like if they want you to promote something, blah blah blah. But I feel when I was watching streams, I just wanted to be entertained. And I think that's why you had Next Level, like when the Yipes and Matrix and stuff were commentating. People didn't watch Marvel, didn't play Marvel, but they knew that they were going to have belly laughs all night from just watching them two commentate.
Exactly. See, I feel like, I mean, all this to all me, like commentary in general is like entertainment, right? Like I feel like obviously there's knowledge within all this. There is, you know, trying to push the scene, all that stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. It's trying to entertain people who come into the stream in your own special way. And I think that that's a super important thing, is like covering the fuck ups that if it happens in production, shit, if another commentator fucks up, like covering that too and being good about like, hey, it's okay, yeah, whatever, or like not like being asked to be like, actually, it's this, you know, whatever, and making it awkward, bro. People do that, and I've seen like a lot of like lower and mid-level commentators do that, and I'm like, you just if something is wrong, because we're never gonna be right every single time. For a while, I called the close slash of Axel for like a solid like 2 fucking tournaments. I called the close slash of Axel 5H, and I fucked it up because I don't play a lot of Axel players. I can see that character a lot during a time where he was a little not as common, right? So I fucked that up, and the commentators that I were with did not say anything at all, which is better because I looked back at my shit and said, oh, let me correct that. Imagine if someone brought that shit up and was like, actually, it's this button, or like in a weird way. Like you could kind of do it in a nice way, but you know, people being awkward about it or weird about it is, I hate that shit, bro. Like it's gonna happen.
I need to send you my clip because I absolutely did that. I hate when people do that. Don't get me wrong. When I hate other people do it, I'm like, you know what? Also, I hate, just to show you how much I hate it and how big of a hypocrite I am. I hate it when commentators go, "Oh, production, you got the scores wrong." I don't know why. It proper winds me up. So if the scores are wrong, I'll say player 1 is on 2, player 3. Player 1 is got two matches. Player 2's got 1 match. And then if production are listening, they can correct it. I don't like pointing the finger at production, basically. So when you say, oh, the scores are wrong, you're kind of calling them out.
Yeah. You guys aren't doing your job.
Yeah. So what you described is how I feel with my commentator and production. But the one time I did it, and I kind of added an element of meme to it, is if these two watch it, I'm sorry, not sorry. I don't regret what I did, but it was real bad. Solid Bones and Juna. Never commentated them before, obviously. It's commentating Guilty Gear, and they called Leo's flash kick a DP. I couldn't hold it in. I couldn't hold it in.
Me too. Oh.
They said DP, and I was like, a what? A dragon punch? Don't you mean a flash kick? To both of them. And I was a little bit more memey with Juna because he played Leo. Yeah. But I don't know. Something came out of me. I was like, I can't let this slide because I do it.
Demon.
It was a demon thing because people know me. That's kind of my thing. I always correct people in chat when I'm on like commentary for like Wanted or whatever. So it's like, I don't want to be a pussy on stream. Like,
and not say it. You know, like you keep that same energy. Exactly. However, but I feel like, but that's like with you. I mean, I've seen you do it too. Like, I don't think it's like the way you at least do it doesn't seem like it's negative. Like, it doesn't seem like it's awkward. Like, if someone's gonna do this, like that's why these are never like hard and fast rules. Like, if someone's gonna do this, like at least do it in a way where it's like funny, or like the person themselves is not known to be an asshole. Like, same with like me going back to like how, you know, don't commentate games that you really don't love. Like, you know, there might be an event where they're like, hey, St. Cole, can you cover this? Because this motherfucker right here, I'm gonna have to do what I have to do to help out, right? Like, I'm going to an event in a couple weeks that I may have to cover King of Fighters. And while I don't hate that game, I haven't played it a lot because, you know, the ranking system's really bad. Yeah. Ranked is absolutely terrible. So like, I just sit in training lab whenever I can, so I get to play it a lot. So I'm doing a lot of homework and playing with some people to get better. But like, am there to help fill for that area, right? Like, and I'll be doing other games too. So like, if that happens, then like that's maybe breaking the rule a little bit, but I still like it. Like, if you ask me to commentate maybe Overwatch, I'm gonna say no because I hate that shit with a passion. I hate Overwatch so much. You ask me to commentate, I'm saying don't even ask me. Host, I'll host some shit for that. But if it comes down to it, you ask me to sit down and be like, okay, we'll commentate these matches. No, because I hate that shit. But like, if you're there and you're like, bro, we don't have anyone, can you cover I'll sit there and be inquisitive to the other commentator, ask questions, and do the general stuff of just like, hey, these players are doing this, and this is what's going on, storytell, all that stuff like that. But like, for the most part though, this is what we do. But there's some exceptions, and if there are exceptions, we have ways to kind of to do it without being assholes.
Yeah, now that you've said that, I kind of want to think of, is there a game I would not want to commentate, or I hate to commentate? I've never thought about that. I feel like I'll tell you what, I did think multiverses. I've done that a couple of times now. 2v2 multiverses. I thought that might be the hardest thing to commentate, because it's 2v2 perks.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm gonna have to have like a diagram on the screen of like, right, I'm commentator 1, you're commentator 2. I look at this zone on the screen, you look at that one. When that plays in that zone, you talk. When that plays,
I go over there.
Yeah. I thought I'd have to do all of that, but it was. I mean, when I did the commentary and I came out, I was like, if I couldn't make jokes or make this sound hype, Bugs Bunny throwing a pie at fucking Iron Giant, then I'm not cut out for commentating. If I can't make a joke about like Taz eating a LeBron James basketball, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. And it's honestly one of the best like games I've commentated, even though I think it's extremely hard because of how much craziness is going on. It's kind of like the lowest bar because there's always something interesting to talk about, whether it be funny or informative.
You hate the game though. Do you hate the game?
I love the game.
Okay. The game. Is there a game that you hate though, that you despise from your soul, that you would commentate? Yeah, put you on the spot.
Honestly, the only thing that has put hate into my heart is Johnny from Exard. But I love Exard. It's just that character.
Just that character.
Yeah. I don't know if I would be. I'm not commentating a Johnny match. That might be something I would have said back in the day.
Damn.
Let
somebody else do this.
I hate that character. And the reason I hate him is because I feel the only way you can be a good Johnny player is if they mess up, if they fuck up. And I'm like, that's the antithesis of playing fighting games. I only win if you make a mistake. I'm like, fuck off, man. That's NPC mode. That's NPC mode. That's fucking sleep. I'm not playing that. But yeah, I want to test myself in like commentate Minesweeper one day or something like that. I like doing things like that. I want to see what crutches I have. And I think if I commentate stuff I know,
that's smart.
If I commentate stuff I know all the time and I'm comfortable, it's too easy. I want to be in a zone where I don't know nothing. I don't know inputs. I wanted to do Tekken because I don't know Tekken inputs.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a game, bro. That is, you have to have a college degree, a bachelor's degree, everything for that. They get your master's right after. What's wild is that I know, like, any character that came from Tekken 1 up to 3, I know a lot of their move names because I used to have the strategy guides, and I'd read the hell out of the strategy guides. So, like, I would, like, Hunting Hawk and shit like that.
Yeah,
some of the characters I understand. Yeah, harangues and the other ones, like Twin Pistons and all that shit like that, I would know because I'd read the fuck out of the strategy guide.
Fuck, you know. However, moves I know. I play Cross Tekken, I'm the same. All the moves that are in Cross Tekken, I know them. Yeah.
I feel you. I like that. I like that energy. Like, where you want to be able to challenge yourself outside. Like, I would be okay with doing those as long as I don't hate the games. If I want to commit my time to commentating them hard body, like, career wise, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, obviously Street Fighter 6 on the horizon. If I like Tekken 8, if I like Project L, then I'll dabble in those games and do what I got to do. But if I don't, then I ain't going to spend a lot of time. If you put me at DreamHack, if you put me at another event and say commentate this for fun, I'll do it. But if it's like spend your limited amount of time and resources to really focus in on a game that you just don't play or care about or whatever, like DNF personally, I couldn't do DNF like right now. Like DNF I don't even hate the game. It's just I can't play it and enjoy it, so then I can't put words to it, if that makes sense. But I could do that, like if you said Minesweeper or some Mario Kart, that's fucking around. Yeah, I'd have fun with that. But if you said like DNF or something, I'd be like, Like King of Fighters is like a break for me because it's like, okay, that game is still good. I enjoy it. I can't play it unless I'm playing in lobbies.
Oof. I get that. I always felt like I would have like a line of what I wouldn't commentate, and it kind of just evaporated where I was like, I did KOF with ICFC. I was like, I don't know this game enough. I like it. I definitely appreciate the difficulty it takes to be good at that game, and that was like my motivation to be like, you know what, I want to do this game justice. Like, it's not a popular game outside of the region. Well, it's actually no, it's got its pockets. It's just very scattered. It's scattered all over the place, right? And I was like, no, this game is in a generation where everything's accessible. This game is hard. This is nails. They're always bringing out like 50 plus characters every fucking King of Fighters. I'm like, fuck it, man. I want to go in. So that I have the same feeling towards you, where in terms of appreciating the game, even if it's not your cup of tea or if you wouldn't normally play it. I definitely want to do more of that. I'm gonna do MVCI in a couple of days. I might date the podcast, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I want to comment to MVCI because it was like, for me, it was like the last game where you could win by zoning. I don't feel other games you can win by zoning anymore, man.
Zoning's so strong in that game.
Zoning
is that game, actually. Active tag.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's ways around it. You can reflect projectiles. So to me, the zoning is like, it's like contemporary dance. It's an art form. I love seeing it. And nowadays you've got, Guilty Gear with like the Game Boy Advance screen size matches and just like,
so small.
Bro, I get claustrophobic watching that game for too long.
Even playing Chip right now, it's like I can't run away. I can't get space. I can't back up enough. Like I always feel like I got to be in front. Like I always got to be like CQC up before they face, like swinging buttons and stuff like that. I'm like, I wish I could back up a bit. The alpha blade don't go that far. I'm like, I'm still right by you. Why am I still right by you when I missed?
You double backdash and you still have to like IB a Nago far rest, and I'm like, man, I just want to breathe. And that's not to say that the game's not skillful. It's just a skill set that I'm not interested in learning. That's fair. So I think in terms of like commentating, I want to put you on the spot because I got put on the spot as well.
Okay. Hit me.
Why am I not sponsored? And you can't use location as an OS. Tell me.
Why are you not sponsored? Because there's three things about sponsorship people got to get right when it comes to commentary. The first of all, sponsorships are different. They're all way different. What I'm doing at Panda is different than what I'm doing at TNS. TNS, I'm working for a production company. I'm doing content for them. Is different than me doing something for Panda where I'm making straight up content and I'm getting paid to do other things and other deliverables and stuff like that, right? There are other sponsors that are out there that are like Panda. There are very few, but there are other sponsors that are out there that would pay content creators and commentators to do stuff. For this, so like every sponsor is different, right? So every sponsor can be different what they ask and what they deliver and all that shit like that. That goes to the second point, and it gets more down to what you're asking. You have to start doing content. You gotta start doing content, buddy. For Panda, they were like, we want you to be a part of the content team. Commentators start needing to do more content. Do more content. Do more. Stream more. YouTube more. Be out there more. Shit, even say that you want to be sponsored. Because honestly, a lot of these teams are finally starting to pick up content creators in all that you see in parentheses, commentator. You go to they're called like talent or whatever, but it's a mix of those two. It's usually more about the content. So if they see you working on content, they'll say, I can invest in you. And I guess at least in the third point, what can they invest in on you? And that's just with any business. This isn't even about the sponsorships because most of them are ass. I ain't gonna lie, most sponsorships are garbage. And being on a sponsor, that's why I'm with a production company, not like a full on esports sponsor. It's way different because we're not operating like that. Most sponsors don't have a way of getting money back. They just sell their clothing and stuff, and they hope that their place can pull in shit and get sponsors on their side of things too. And it usually ends up the bubble burst and people lose their jobs. And you could be sponsored for a few months and then lose your shit because someone talks shit or maybe they ran out of money, whatever. You don't know what's going to happen. So like going back to, if you want those real deal sponsors or whatever, or someone to back you, you have to say, what can I deliver to who's going to give me money? For me, I'm an active person. I'm actively part of the community. In fact, one of the things I want to do in more of these tournaments is talk to sponsors on the side myself. Like I'm talking like, actual like vendors and stuff. Talk to them myself and say, hey, what do you want? We could do some content. We could do something with this or whatever. If you do A to B or whatever, I'm going out to this event, all this other stuff. And I'm my goal is this year is to like do more content with the vendors that are out here, with people that are outside the scene, and bring them into the FGC or keep them more in the FGC with my skills as a commentator or a host or whatever. So like for me, I'll say shit, yo, I'll go up to maybe a vendor or a sponsor. Like if you're having an event, I'm here to commentate, or even an esports team. I'll tell them, even if I'm with TNS, that doesn't mean I can't go over and do commentary or content with somebody else, because I like doing that stuff. So let's do some stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's maybe that's a fourth point, is just being active, actively asking, seeing what's around for opportunities. Maybe commentators aren't doing that. Maybe they're focused on commentary, but I don't feel like in this business right now, to go far, it's a good idea to be focused on just commentary. You have to be focused on content too as well. And it's sad. It sounds sad, but selling yourself. You could do hot on the mic, but you have to make sure people remember you in every fashion. And honestly, it's just good it's good to get back to the community. I know it's cheesy to say, but like, you're doing more for the community to build it, and it only helps everything, because everything rises from this. Like, if I help a sponsor, like, and I'm like, yo, I'll do some content for you. Maybe they're outside the FGC and they run a cute little ad with some fighting game stuff. There's people out there that don't know anything about fighting games, but hey, they might be interested. And that's one of my primary goals, is to get people in the goddamn scene overall. So if that helps achieve it, then hey, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. I just wanted to hear you say I suck, but
it's not that you suck. It's that,
I suck
as with a lot of people,
I suck at networking. Yes, I don't like doing it. Yeah.
Because you don't like doing it, but doesn't mean you suck at it. That means you just don't like doing it, because you don't see the value in it. There is value in it, but you have to be smart about how you network and all that stuff like that. That's a whole nother topic. But like, it's you have to, for you and other commentators, like streaming is like, I'm not even consistent with streaming. I'm actually bad about this, so I'm eating my own words here. But like, streaming more, making more YouTube, this is a good idea right here. This off the grip is already amazing. Even if it doesn't get promoted, even me with my fucking imposter syndrome, just starting out making content with other people is a good idea too as well. We have to do more like that if we want more opportunities. Like, to me, that's how I see stuff. Like, if I want more, I need to be doing more. There's so much out there, and this isn't something that I realized. I was told this by other people, like telling other people, like, bro, you know how much shit is out there that y'all could be doing? Why aren't y'all doing it? Look at Sajam's ass. That motherfucker got a full ass 25K on the YouTubes. That just alrighty then, chat, and then pops that sucker open. But he's been working at it for years, so he's got 2 avenues. I mean, that shit's smart. That's smart. Look at Rob listening to white people music, and that shit cracking fair amount of views.
Bro, I mean, yeah, literally.
That shit's smart.
He's listening to old Linkin Park records and he's getting crazy viewership. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you're right. I feel if I was to do it, I think I'm trying to think of like other people I know without saying their names. Like, what is their like quirk? I think like everyone kind of needs a quirk, because I've said this before. There's a lot of fighting game players that don't have personalities. That's why they can't commentate, or they can't socialize, or they can't get sponsored. It's like, yeah, you can beat everyone, but you can't say more than 4 words to someone of the opposite sex. Like, you're just weird like that. It's fine.
Blank. Yeah.
I mean, you have to think fighting games kind of grow that kind of individual, because you're on your own, you're solo, you're gonna get mad angry because you've got no one to blame but yourself. It kind of festers that kind of person, and I think locals do kind of break people out of that kind of mentality for sure. Yeah. So definitely, like, if you've only played online, go to a local. Don't be that basement dweller that can't talk to people. Trust me, it's not fun.
It's not good.
It's not good. No one's winning. But yeah, I think if I was to do anything, it is debating, but no one likes that. I find it super fun.
You'd be surprised, as long as you don't just say anything wild. You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised. That could be.
I've never said anything incorrect. Sorry, it might be wild, but it wasn't incorrect.
Sometimes you got to hold back on, even if you're right. You're not right to say it. You know what I'm saying, bro? That's the way of business.
It's called
there's a business
DP.
side.
I can't even hold it in there. Do you think I'm gonna hold it? Nah, I can't. That's what I mean. I'm not marketable. My brand is not marketable.
That is very marketable. It's just that the thing is though, like that's your imposter syndrome saying that you're very marketable. That's a very marketable thing, because you're not an asshole saying that. You're just a person that doesn't like that. There's a difference. Other people would say that and sound smarmy and weird and like, they need to take a fucking bath. You sound like a regular human being that just doesn't like to hear people call things wrong. Shit, don't look back at my TNS run, because I definitely called that shit a DP like 300 times. My bad.
Everyone does it, don't worry. I'm the odd one out, and I hate it. I'm the odd one out,
even though it's right.
And
I guess you and Jammers would do it too.
Jammers would call it flash kick. He would call it flash kick, but regardless of me, because he loves like moves. He's very anal when it comes to being correct, and I have that in spades. And it's my character, and I'm like, bro, literally, it was only like 4 years ago when I was playing Exiled, no one would dare call that a DP. No one calls Guile's move a DP. We call it reversal. Just call it reversal. And I will do that. Something I do need to hold back in commentary is going into debate mode. There's been
you just switch that. I don't know. That could be kind of funny if you harness that power. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a power though. Because like Jammers, look at what Jammers will like make fun of the players and stuff like that. But I mean, in a way which is obviously constructive. But he's made it constructive. Other people. Yeah, it actually is. I got to give credit to Jammers. It is. He's a good player, so he can talk and he knows the players. Like he's made it constructive. If other people do it, it doesn't work. That's a power, though. My rhymes, I've made it into a power. Your debate could be a power, and it kind of is. I think it is. And you just don't realize it. But
I feel it requires the other person to be in on the joke, but it's not a joke. It's like I have to commentate with myself. I have to commentate with someone who's exactly like me, and it's
you can
hard.
modify that. Nah, you can make that work. You can make that work. That's not hard.
I'll try. Like I know there's people out there that like to kind of insert their opinion as fact and stuff like that. I like when people push back on that. That's my thing, and I like doing it. I just feel that it is a time and a place. But you're right. I guess it is. That is my quirk. It's just a little bit more an acquired taste, and I need to, master the arts of debating without it looking very aggressive or cringe or anything like that. It's like a fine line.
I mean, honestly, that'd be great because there's sometimes where like I will converse with a commentator and they'll disagree, and that actually opens up discussion because at the end of the day, we're having varied opinions, and that's okay because we're not going to agree on everything. That's a good thing to not agree on everything, or we'll bring up sources and stuff like that. We'll say, oh look what happened in the match, and like as long as it's friendly, it's fine. And but I think that you might have the most power doing that though. Like you might have a whole ass thing where if you do it in the right way, like and people can vibe with that. Like I feel like you do it already, you just don't know it, but you can harness it to be even stronger. Like you just don't know. I feel like you do that already and you do a good job of it, but you hide it so people don't get angry, which is good.
I definitely do it on Twitter, and I do hide it because I'm like, fuck, what if a TO sees this? I'll just chill. I'll relax. I haven't got all the characters, and I want to be like, just jump in Discord. Let's talk about it. You can stream it
with Discord.
Get the Discord. IMC4 hashtag. Like I would do that. I've done it with a couple of people. I'm like, look, just jump in Discord. We'll talk because I think a big element, and I kind of like even with this, I didn't want to call it a podcast, but for the algorithm, I just put podcast in there. But I'll never say it is
right. Get the views.
I like the conversations. Like you said, I like disagreements. I'm definitely a person who's like, everyone can have their opinion, but you can have wrong opinions. And I want to challenge your wrong opinion. But some people don't want that. They want to go, this character's broken. I say, why? And they'll be like, it just is, man. I don't know what to tell you. And they want to stop the conversation there.
That's weird. At least say your piece.
People want to have a position or not defend it, and I guess people don't play fighting games to have debates about what character's strong. I get it, but I'll think about trying to channel the negative energy into good. I'm like definitely down for that.
Turn evil to good. Oh, I love that. I'm telling you, that's a strong power. People don't know how to do that all the way. That could be your thing.
But, I'll definitely try out. I might try on more of these podcasts with other people. I'll have to think of something we disagree with first, and then see if I can have that navigational conversation. Because I think if you've seen Theory Fighters content,
literally
the
grappler stuff.
Me and him, he was nothing he said in that was wrong. By the way, everything he said was factually correct. Not being biased.
Last 10 seconds.
What was wrong that he said?
That we just need to get better. Maybe we suck against grapplers. I think that we don't suck against grapplers. I think that character archetype is just always going to be trash no matter what. Even if you see people that know how to fight grapplers and they still hate grapplers, bro. Different podcast.
How long have we got? Can we have like a 10-minute bonus material? This is let me
10-minute
channel
bonus.
my energy.
10-minute bonus. I will say though, that like I haven't watched it in a long time. Since it dropped like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
So, but the one point that started out to me, the point that started out, even though he was spitting a lot, I think that last part, the last 10 seconds got me heated because I was like, but there are people that do good against grapplers, that know how to fight grapplers. You watch them play and they know how to fight a grappler. It doesn't mean they're any less frustrating. I'm not going to say that grapplers are, shouldn't be good or bad or whatever, or that, grappler players are carried or they shouldn't be hated or shouldn't be hated or should be hated, whatever. But like, you can't say that people don't know how to fight grapplers, or don't know how to understand that we suck at fighting grapplers, because there are players that do good. I think Nemo is a good example. Right. I think he fights grappler players very well, in my opinion. I think that he obviously, he hated Itazan and hates that character archetype, so maybe that drove him to do so. But when I watch him play, his decision making is he's like he's fighting against a grappler. He understands the options and the risk taking and the rewards and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that you can't you can't hate that shit though.
Yeah. I actually, I don't think we disagree. It's cool. I think
no
because I think I misheard a word you said. So that video, what's funny? You said the last 10 seconds triggered you. I literally tweeted when it came out and said the last 10 seconds is all I needed to hear. This video is the best, because top grapplers in the beginning of any game are always hated because they're strong. And I feel the video is saying after a couple of months when people learn the matchup, they're not strong. I don't think he ever said about you should like to fight against them.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking.
You're right.
Yeah, we don't disagree. I think.
Yeah. It's the same, basically.
I think grapplers always fall off because people don't, initially know how to fuzzy guard away their mix up and stuff, or they don't know when to backdash and know when to challenge. Once they learn all of that, it's still frustrating fighting a grappler, but they're nowhere near as strong. Grapplers are the first characters to fall off without getting changed. No other archetype falls off without a patch. Just grapplers.
Oh, that's actually facts. Yeah, actually, it's true. Not zoners, not rush, bro. Especially not rushdown. Rushdown definitely needs some sort of tinkering with the mechanics of the character, or whatever. Yep. But when it comes to grapplers, you're right. Yeah, it's definitely, you hear those 10 seconds. I was like, what do you mean? Even though the other shit he was spitting, he wasn't lying. Obviously, I have a distaste for grapplers too. I played Bison in 5, and for the entire run, Geef beat that character's ass. So I have already an inherent bias. So whatever I say is going to be behind that too as well. So I'm already a bad person to debate on that. So I just got triggered him saying people don't know how to fight grapplers. And I was like, I mean,
I feel he slyly took a dig at me because he plays grapplers. In Cross Tekken, he played Geef. He played Geef and Chun, and I played Bison. So he plays Ladiva in Grand Blue. He likes grapplers. He was playing Pot at the beginning of Strive. He's really good at footsies, but I think he's sort of with me on comms. I like to challenge myself, so I'll play mini games in commentary. I'll try and name as many Eminem tracks while commentating and stuff like that. In between. That. Yeah, the mini games, to keep me awake. I love doing all that stuff, or all the Pokemon, as many Pokemon move attacks as I can and stuff like that. I think he does that with games. He will go, I could just pick the best footsie character, or the best character with pokes, but I want to play with a grappler. I want to do the ultimate poke, which is a command grab. I think that's what he likes to do. And because I've had to suffer against it, I literally could not do I couldn't do scissor kick against Geef in Cross Tekken if he had a bar, because I'd get SPD'd. So I thought, if I don't hate grapplers, no one else should really hate grapplers. It was my life living that. But I do get it. It's the fact that you normally have to change up your game, your win condition, because of the character. It's pretty annoying. But I don't think we disagree. So I'll it's the same. That's crazy. I'll put the energy back down, wait for another time for someone to say something crazy. I do want to do zoners require more skill than rushdown characters. Oh, I agree with that. I think that's true. Yeah, see, same people. The game, but it's obvious, because zoning takes such a big skill in terms of keeping people out, projectile speed, stuff like that. You have to really understand their tendencies. Rushdown, you're just implementing your game plan on them with the quickness. That's all. I'm not saying that's all Rushdown is all the time, but a lot of Rushdown just starts with,
I'm putting my game plan out, and you have to deal with it, and it's like figure out how they deal with it. Like you're player 1 in a lot of instances, and they're player 2 for Rushdown, in my opinion. For zoning, zoning, like look, I think Sagat is a quintessential why zoning is so difficult. Even though he's not built right in 5, he is the quintessential. This is why this shit sucks, because you have to be meaty. You have to change with your fireball timings and stuff like that. You have to have different speeds, different templates for your fireballs. For Rushdown, it's not always so deep with just one move. I don't really see that the same. That's me personally. Why do I have to learn 5 or 6 different fireball templates for one matchup for zoning, and then somebody else picks Urian or even Bison or whatever, the scissor kick, and they just make sure they are better space. It doesn't. EX Zonk, I gotta just space it out a little bit different. If it's, I lose my turn if it's not EX. If it's EX, I gotta press a button after. Like that's not a long template that you have to die from. Like that's, I'd be so place I got. So like I know how big fireballs and how important that shit is. You know how zoning is. Like that's people that say that are. I think those are zoomers. I think those might be some zoomers right there. Like the boomers know. Like real fireball game. Like took a lot of skill. Now I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I don't give a fuck. Zoners take. I hate zoners sometimes too. It's not like I'm doing this out of bias. I think Axel's a piece of junk to fight in Guilty Gear. I hate that character. Like, bro, I hate some zoners too. Guile, fuck him. Street Fighter 5. But guess what? I understand how good a zoning game is. How important it is.
Where was you like 10 years ago, man? Like, I obviously you're talking sense, so I agree with you. Like, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's self-evident. I'm surprised that we even need to explain it to people. I will show you a tweet where we are the minority. We are the minority. And it's wild.
That is
wild. I mean, yeah, I think we can only end on that note. Zoners are definitely harder to play. Rushdown characters are crayon-wielding maniacs. That's what
up the nose, in the ears, in the mouth, you know.
All the orifices, man. Like, but you know what?
Orifices.
I get it. Like, that's how your character's built. You might like the archetype, whatever. But just understand when someone keeps you out for the whole match, that required skill. Just that's all I'm saying.
It's your own fault. It's your own fault. It's
get good. Get good.
Get good.
When you get rushed down by someone who does 50-50s, you never tell that person to get good.
Yeah. I mean, like, what do you tell them to get better at? There's gonna I'll add another mix on it. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. Little left, right. And I play Rushdown too. I'm playing Chip right now with Guilty Gear. Like, it's not like y'all can't be like, oh, well, he's a zoner player. I'm not zoning. I'm rushing you down and I'm doing I'm eating crayons while I'm doing left, right. I don't know where the hell I'm at. I had Alpha Blade. I have no idea. But that's the way to play as Rushdown. With zoning, there's like, it's very meticulous and stuff like that. And then they get in and you die, you know? Unless you're like a broken ass character like Luke or whatever, like you could do everything right. But or Happy Chaos in some instances where it's like the normals are still good. So there's some differences. There's some characters that are a little more on the brainless side. But even the Happy Chaos takes a little bit of work too. So that's
I agree. People say the execution's easy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just I'm too old. I don't think it is. I play on Hitbox, and I think the execution to do consistently in a volatile game like Strive, the nerves alone would make me miss those.
But with resources too, nah. So I tried it for a week, and I was like, I can't. There's no way. There's no way.
It's not easy, man. It's not easy. But yeah, that was I definitely want to have I want to do a 2v2. Now I'm empowered. I feel we need to do a 2v2. We need to find some zoomers that like Rushdown and then just have a little bit of a clash. But yeah, shout out to you for letting me steal some time out of your day. I don't know if there's anything you want to plug. If there's anything you want to ask me or anything, any shout outs you want to do before we close up.
I guess, big shout out to you for putting me on this podcast. I appreciate it, brother. Always good chatting up with you. I can't wait to see you at any tournament that you plan to come to. I'm going to be at some tournaments, Texas Showdown, all that shit this year. DreamHack I'm doing too as well. So keep your eyes locked for that. Also, if you're out there, if you see me, I'm going to be doing content. So jump on in. That goes for you too, C4. If I see you at a goddamn tournament, you might be in a fucking YouTube video. So prepare yourself. But, shouts to owners.
Bro, say it again for the people in the back, please.
Shout out to zoners, baby. Let's go.
Amen. Oh, I've got a new... Bro, you just gave me my new tattoo idea. I'm getting that on the forehead, man. Shout out to zoners.
Shout out to zoners.
That is the one. Yeah, this has been another podcast. Again, shouts to Saint Cola for blessing us with the good takes, the real good takes. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do it again, or I might see you might see me on Saint Cola's side. We'll check out his YouTube. We'll obviously put the links down below, see him streaming. But yeah, until then, see you guys later. Peace.